everyone, and welcome to Jess and Laura's Hooray for 3000 video hop. This is a fun summer-themed hop to celebrate Laura and Jess's 3000 subscribers on YouTube. There will be giveaways along the hop, so make sure to watch and comment on as many videos as possible. The more you comment, the higher the chances to win. And if you enjoy the videos in the hop, you can support the creators by subscribing to their channels. Winners will be chosen at random from all the comments left on all of the videos in the hop. The deadline for comments is July 10th. Winners will be announced on Laura and Jess's channels on July 15th. For more details on the prizes and how to claim them, you can check the video description below. Now let's get started and make a fun card. Today I'm going to recreate this fun card I designed. I'm calling it an upcycled slide and stand card. It's such a fun card design and one of the first pop-ups I ever learned to create. If you watch my videos, you know I like to change things up whenever possible, and I really wanted to use this to create a fun dimensional scene card that I could fold flat and put in a regular sized envelope. The cards will be close, but not as exact, as I re-engineered a few things along the way. In the hopes of making this video as easy to understand and organized as possible, I have pre-cut everything for the card. I have 3 pieces of cardstock, one measuring 4 1/4 inches by 5 inches, and 2 that measure 4 1/4 inches by 4 3/4 inches. I have a 4 1/4 inch wide piece of mountain cut from the Lawn Fawn stitched mountain border dies, a 4 1/4 inch wide set of 3 waves in the stitched wave border die set, also from Lawn Fawn, and sailboats, a lighthouse, and clouds stamped and die cut from Lawn Fawn's smooth sailing stamps and dies set. The theme of this hop is summer, and sailing has always been synonymous with summer for me, as I grew up going sailing with my dad every weekend on Lake Superior. I also have the seagull stamps loaded up on a block for stamping, and I have stamped the sailboats onto the really rainbow scallop paper again from Lawn Fawn. I fussy cut the sails and glued them onto the corresponding sailboats, and then did some quick Copic coloring on the holes using Copic markers in R22, R24, and R29. I flicked the darkest color in from both sides, about 1/3 of the way, then the mid-tone, and then the lightest color in the center to hopefully achieve a somewhat rounded effect. I also colored a small amount of BG45 in the middle to blend with the background of the card instead of leaving the white space, and a smidge of Y04 on the flags to finish it off. I didn't do any shading on the lighthouse. The red is R24, the blue is BG45, and the yellow is Y04. It's a great way to just keep it simple by using the same colors. I'll now take all of these pieces and set them aside while I get ready to create the backgrounds. Now it's time to get a little inky, or actually a lot inky. I used Distress Ink Oxides in crushed olive, twisted citron, and mowed lawn for the mountains. I'm using some of the makeup brushes I purchased on Amazon. They work great. Then I took the Peacock Feathers, Salty Ocean, and Mermaid Lagoon for the water on the wave die cuts, and the 4 1/4 inch by 5 inch panel, which will be folded into my card base. Notice I'm a little more loose with this color, as the sea is a more intricate set of colors really. It has a kind of translucency to it that I was trying to just model, I guess is the word. I had a 2 1/2 inch circle punch, which I used to cut out my mask for the sun. I applied my mask to the 4 1/4 inch by 4 3/4 inch piece of cardstock, and I started blending at the top with picked raspberry. Then spiced marmalade, which I continue more lightly on the bottom of the panel, and then squeezed lemonade that was kind of mixed with the spiced marmalade at the bottom after I removed the mask. I filled in the masked area with just the squeezed lemonade as well, which created the sun. To create the base of my card, I take the 4 1/4 inch by 5 inch piece of cardstock and score it at 1/2 inch, 1 1/4 inch, 1 3/4 inches, 2 1/2 inches, 3 1/4 inches, 3 3/4 inches, and 4 1/2 inches on the 5-inch side. Then I fold the panel in half so the white side is showing, and use my grid to mark a 1/2 inch from either side of the panel. I unfold the panel and place it back in the scoreboard and use a craft knife to cut a slit in the center score line between the two 1/2 inch marks. I then make an identical slit 2 notches over, so about 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch over. And it doesn't matter which way because it's symmetrical. So at this point, whichever side I make that mark on will be the front of the card or towards the front of the card. Next, I decide which wave should go in the center and place it on the scoreboard with the flat sides in the corner. I score the piece just below the wave lines, like so, and fold and score the piece firmly. I then line it up with my grid lines and make tick marks in from either side about 3/4 of an inch, and then cut slits at these marks up to the score line. I then bend the side pieces backwards and the center piece towards the front. I place the larger center flap through the front slit on the card base, flip it over, and then flip the whole card base over, and then apply liquid glue to the ink blended side of the little wave piece that I put in. I then attach that flap towards the front of the card. I flip the base back over and then bring the 2 side flaps toward the front again and adhere them down with liquid glue as well. I had originally intended for them to be back, but realized the white side was a little jarring in all of that ocean, and by flipping them forward, they blended in beautifully and it really made no difference. I now go through and score each of the score lines on the base and ready it to be adhered together with my large sailboat front and center. Actually, center and center. You'll notice that I have attached a large white strip to the sailboat. This is how I will attach it to the card base. I face the sailboat towards the front of the card and then put it through the center slit, and then lay the base open on my work surface. Each side has a 1/2 inch flap, which are both folded mountain fold towards the inside of the base. I apply liquid glue to the ink blended side of the flap that is facing me, and then place my sailboat strip over it, and then put some extra adhesive on top of the sailboat strip so everything will be adhered when I join the 2 flaps together. The sailboat should be lined up just above where the flaps land when folded. I then take the opposite folded flap and it matches up exactly with the flap the glue is on. I quickly pop the sailboat through the slit, essentially popping the card base into the open position, and then quickly wiggle the sailboat into the position I want it to be on the front of the card, before the glue is dried and the sailboat is stuck in place forever. After this is done, I reclose the base and snip off the end of the long strip. I now take the folded card base and place it on my work surface, front side down. Note that in the center there are 2 score lines a 1/2 inch apart that when opened create the back of the base. To attach the backdrop, I apply 2 strips of 1/4 inch score tape to fill in the 1/2 inch space, and then line the sunset piece up with the bottom score line. I press down when I am comfortable that everything is straight and flip it over. Now we have a backdrop and we can build our scene. I use my dotted tape runner to add the mountains and the back wave, then stamp some seagulls with VersaFine Onyx black ink, perch the lighthouse on top of the hill, again with dotted tape runner, and add the clouds popped up with tiny foam squares, except for one smaller cloud that I tucked behind a larger cloud. I stamp my sentiment on the front wave and attach it to the front panel of the card, and then add the small sailboat just to the right above the sentiment, and this card is done. Oh no, I almost forgot to add the back panel to clean it up and leave a space to write a message. Now this card is done. I'm super happy with how this turned out. When it was done, I looked at it and realized I had created a rainbow to go with my little scalloped rainbow sails. What a happy accident. Here is how it fits inside a regular envelope. It's just perfect, isn't it? I want to say a big congratulations to Jess and Laura for reaching their 3,000 subscriber milestone. It just shows that hard work and perseverance can go a long way. We all appreciate the scores of people who subscribe to our channels. I hope I have piqued your interest enough that you'll subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know if you like the video or not with those ever useful thumbs. Thanks again for joining me today. I hope you have a happy and crafty 4th of July if you're in the States, and I'll see you next time here at Perky Penny Paper Arts.